I met Emily 3 years ago on a rainy Tuesday evening in downtown Chicago. She was in a bookstore cafe, reading a copy of The Art of War and sipping black coffee. She wore a cream trench coat, her hair in a bun, and round glasses that gave her the kind of elegance I didn't think still existed. We locked eyes for just a moment. And that was it. Fate had spoken. I was a marketing analyst at a mid-sized firm. Quiet life. Straightforward. I had never really believed in love at first sight until her. She was everything I wasn't. Bold, mysterious, intellectually sharp. She worked in cybersecurity at a private firm. I didn't understand most of what she did, but I loved hearing her talk about it. We dated for 11 months before I proposed. Our wedding was simple, close friends, family, and just enough sunlight peeking through the clouds to make it feel magical. Life with Emily was bliss. She cooked gourmet meals, kept our apartment spotless, and always had a book recommendation that made me think. She was thoughtful and kind, and even remembered the anniversary of my late mother's death, baking her famous lemon pie each year. But in our third year of marriage, everything began to change. It started subtly. She would get phone calls at strange hours, then leave the room. Once, at 3 a.m., I found her whispering on the balcony. When I asked, she said it was her friend Mia going through a divorce. Then there was her laptop. She never let me near it. I remember asking, "Why is your laptop always locked?" She smiled and replied, "It's a work thing. NDA stuff." You understand, right? I did. At least, I thought I did. One night, she came home late, well past midnight, and looked shaken, pale, sweaty. I asked if she was okay. "Rough night at work," she mumbled and kissed me on the cheek. "Let's talk in the morning." But she never wanted to talk. 3 weeks later, I accidentally opened her laptop. She had left it charging in the living room while she showered. The screen lit up. No password prompt. She must have forgotten to lock it. At first, I hesitated. But curiosity is a dangerous thing. The desktop had just one folder, Bloom. I clicked it. Inside were dozens of encrypted files and a few unencrypted PDFs. One was a wire transfer record to a bank in the Cayman Islands. Another was a scanned passport photo of a man I didn't recognize, labeled Client Neutralized. The third document made my blood run cold. Operation Emerald. Active target acquired. Code name E. Emily. I heard the bathroom door open. I quickly closed the laptop, heart pounding. My hands were shaking. "Hey, babe," she said, walking out in a towel. "Did you see my phone?" I forced a smile. Nope. Didn't see it. That night, I couldn't sleep. My wife, my Emily, was involved in something dangerous. Criminal. The next day at work, I couldn't concentrate. Emily's files haunted my mind. Who was neutralized? What was Operation Emerald? Was Emily some kind of spy? Or something worse? That evening, I faked being sick and left work early. I planned to confront her, but not without answers. I drove to her office, a towering glass building with private security at every corner. But when I asked the receptionist if I could leave something for Emily Carter, she frowned. "We don't have anyone by that name here, sir." "What?" "She works in cybersecurity, floor 14, right?" "There is no floor 14, she replied calmly. "This building only has 12. I left, heart pounding. Back home, I found her already there, cooking steak and listening to jazz like nothing was wrong. "You got off early?" she asked casually. "Yeah." "You okay?" "You seem tired lately." "I'm fine," she said, forcing a smile. But I wasn't. Something was deeply wrong, and I was living in the middle of it. That night, while she showered again, I installed a location tracker on her car. I hated myself for it, but I needed to know. 3 nights later, it paid off. At 11:47 p.m., she left home. I followed her location on my phone as she drove 25 minutes northwest, stopping at an abandoned warehouse near the edge of the city. I drove there quietly, parking a block away, heart thudding. I watched her step out, dressed all in black, and enter the warehouse. Through my binoculars, I saw three men waiting. One of them handed her a silver briefcase. She opened it, nodded, and passed him a folder in return. Who was she working for? I recorded the scene from afar and left before she saw me. The next morning, I called someone I never thought I would. My old college roommate, Liam, who now worked for the FBI. Her name's not Emily Carter, Liam said the next day after reviewing my footage and laptop screenshots. What are you talking about? Her real name is Elena Varga. She's on a watch list. No charges yet, but suspected in laundering, arms smuggling, even cyber infiltration. She's smart. Disappears every few years. Changes her identity. You're married to one of the most wanted ghost criminals in the system. I felt my knees weaken. I can't believe this, I whispered. So, what do I do? We can't move unless we have hard evidence she's actively involved. But you, he paused. You're in danger. They gave me a choice. Cooperate or walk away. I couldn't walk away. I needed the truth. So I agreed to help the FBI monitor her. I became a spy on my own wife. Over the next week, I recorded everything, her calls, movements, laptop activity. Emily had become colder, more distant. One night, she sat on the balcony alone, crying. Part of me still loved her. I watched her from the doorway and whispered, "You okay?" She wiped her eyes. Just tired. She reached for my hand, and I almost pulled away, but didn't. Was any of this real? Had she ever truly loved me? That night, while she slept, I found a hidden USB in her purse. Inside were copies of classified government data and a note with names and account numbers. Evidence. I gave it to the FBI. They prepared for arrest. The morning of the operation, Liam called. We moved tonight. I got home early and tried to act normal. But Emily could feel it. What's wrong with you today? She asked, cutting vegetables. I stared at her. Why are you lying to me? She froze. What are you talking about? I know who you are, Elena. She turned pale. The knife dropped. I saw the files. The warehouse. I know everything. She backed away slowly. You don't understand. You used me.
No, she snapped. I tried to leave that life. I really loved you. But they wouldn't let me go. I'm in too deep. The front door slammed open. FBI agents rushed in. Hands in the air. They shouted. Emily looked at me one last time, tears in her eyes, before they cuffed her. As she passed me, she whispered, I was going to tell you. After one last job. It's been 6 months since that night. Emily, Elena, was sentenced to 12 years after a plea deal. She gave up 3 names from her network. The FBI said my help stopped a major cyber attack on a US energy grid. People called me a hero, but it didn't feel like a victory. I still remember the smell of her perfume in our home, the way she laughed at old sitcoms, the lemon pie she learned to bake from my mom's recipe. I loved her. Maybe I still do. But the truth is a dangerous thing, and even perfect love can be built on lies. Jake sat alone in his truck outside a 24-hour diner. The shock hadn't worn off yet. He hadn't cried. He hadn't screamed. He felt nothing and everything all at once. He couldn't process what he had seen. His wife of 10 years, the woman he gave his soul to, lying in bed with Ryan. Ryan, who knew every detail of his life. Ryan, who held his hand through his father's funeral. Ryan, who was supposed to be family. But betrayal cut deeper than any blade. He didn't go home that night. Instead, Jake checked into a motel 3 towns over, dropped his phone on the nightstand, and stared at the ceiling in darkness. The next morning, Jake returned, not to fight, but to gather his things. Emily was alone. Her eyes were red and puffy. "Jake, don't," he said. "I saw enough. Please let me explain. You cheated on me with him." "There's no explanation for that." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "It wasn't supposed to happen. I never meant to hurt you." Jake stayed silent. She stepped forward. "I was lonely. You were always working. I felt invisible. And instead of talking to me, you went to the man I trusted most." His voice cracked. Emily collapsed into sobs. "I hate myself for it. I never planned it." Jake shook his head. "You didn't plan it, but you chose it. Over and over." He walked away. Later that day, Ryan showed up at the motel. Jake opened the door, expression unreadable. "I'm not here to make excuses," Ryan said. "Good. Because there isn't one. I screwed up, Jake. I don't know why I did it. I guess I was jealous. Of your life. Your success." Oh. Jake clenched his fists. "You wanted what I had, so you took it." Ryan looked down. "I didn't mean to fall for her." Jake's eyes were cold. "You didn't fall for her. You fell into her bed." Ryan swallowed hard. "I'll stay away. I hope one day you'll forgive me." Jake didn't reply. He slammed the door in his face. The papers were filed within a week. Emily didn't fight it. Jake moved into a small rental apartment on the edge of town. It was quiet and dull, but he preferred silence over betrayal. Claire, Emily's friend, reached out. "Jake, I'm so sorry. I saw things but didn't know how to tell you." Jake appreciated her honesty. "You were the only real one." He stopped checking Emily's socials. He blocked Ryan. He dove into work, spending 12-hour days avoiding everything that hurt. But at night, the silence screamed. 3 months later, Jake collapsed during a meeting at work. The stress, the bottled emotions, the sleepless nights, it all caught up. His boss insisted he take medical leave. "You're not a machine, Jake. You've been through hell. Take time." Jake resisted, but finally agreed. That week, he started therapy. Jake sat in the plush chair of Dr. Lynn Foster's office. A cozy room with warm-toned bookshelves and soft lighting. He hated the idea of therapy, but by now, he had nothing left to lose. Dr. Foster gave him space to breathe, to unfold, without judgment. "Tell me what hurts the most," she asked gently. Jake stared at the ceiling for a long time. "It's not just that they cheated. It's that I trusted them. I loved them. And neither of them flinched." Dr. Foster nodded. "Betrayal often isn't about what was taken from you, but who took it." He came back the next week. And the next. Slowly, he began confronting the deeper pain, not just the betrayal, but how much of himself he had lost trying to keep everything perfect. One afternoon, Jake got a letter in the mail. The handwriting stopped him cold. It was from Emily. He almost threw it away. But curiosity got the better of him. "Jake, you won't answer my calls or texts, and I get it. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I shattered us. You were always good to me, and I took that goodness for granted. Ryan was a mistake. I don't even talk to him anymore. He used me, Jake. I thought it was love, but it was poison. I miss us. I miss the safety of your arms. I miss how you made the world feel steady. I was broken, and instead of asking you to help fix me, I broke you too. I'm sorry. Always. Emily." Jake folded the letter slowly. There was nothing left to say. Word around town spread that Ryan had lost his job. He had been caught sleeping with a co-worker's wife. Again, Jake wasn't surprised. He watched from a distance as Ryan spiraled, drinking, drifting, and eventually leaving town entirely. No one missed him. It was strange. Jake didn't feel angry anymore. Just empty. A part of him had died the night he found them in his bed, but another part of him was slowly being reborn. At a neighborhood barbecue, Jake ran into Hannah Green, a nurse he went to high school with. She laughed when she saw him. "Jake Matthews, I thought you vanished after senior year." He smiled. "Feels like I did." She was warm, down to earth, and nothing like Emily. They talked all evening about old times, about healing, about being human and hurt, and still getting up the next day. Jake felt something he hadn't felt in over a year. Hope. 6 months passed. Jake was still in therapy, but he had started running again, cooking again, smiling again. He didn't rush into anything with Hannah, but their connection was genuine, easy, honest. One night, sitting on his couch, he told her everything, the affair, the pain, the nights he thought he wouldn't survive it. She didn't flinch. She just listened, then held his hand. "You didn't deserve that," she said, "but you deserve this moment. Peace." For the first time, Jake believed it. Jake ran into Emily by accident at a local grocery store. She looked thinner, tired, older than she should have. "Jake," she said softly, her voice cracking. He didn't walk away this time. He didn't feel rage, just distance. "I got your letter," he said. Her eyes welled up. "I never stopped regretting what I did to you." "I know," Jake replied. "But it's not my burden anymore." She reached for his arm. "Have you moved on?" "I'm healing," he said, gently pulling back. "You should too." Emily nodded, tears falling. "I hope you're happy someday." Jake smiled, calm and steady. "I will be." And then he walked away for the last time. One evening, Jake and Hannah sat under the stars, sharing stories from their pasts. Hannah looked at him seriously. "Jake, if you're not ready for anything serious, I understand." Jake took a long breath. "I thought I'd never trust again, but you've helped me believe that love doesn't have to hurt." She smiled. "It doesn't. Not if both people show up with honesty and no masks." He reached for her hand. "Then let's take it one day at a time." They clinked glasses, two souls recovering in sync. Jake returned to his old house one last time to collect the last of his things. Emily had moved out. It felt like a shell of the life they once shared.
He took down their wedding photo, looked at it for a long second, then placed it face down in the box. As he turned to leave, he whispered to the empty room, "I forgive you, and I forgive myself for staying too long." And then he left, closing the door behind him. A full year passed. Jake had changed, not just in appearance, but in soul. He had boundaries, peace, purpose. He and Hannah had grown closer, supporting each other through their healing. They traveled together, laughed often, and learned how to build trust from scratch. Jake was offered a new role at a different company, this time as a regional director. He accepted, but with balance in mind. No more living at work. No more losing himself. He'd finally found his footing again. On a cool spring morning, Jake and Hannah sat by the lake near our house. Birds chirped. The water was calm. Hannah leaned on his shoulder. "You know, for a guy who got wrecked by life, you turned out all right." He laughed. "Took a while, but I like where I've landed." She tilted her head. "Ever think about starting fresh? Like really fresh?" He turned to her. "You mean together?" Hannah smiled. "Maybe." Jake didn't hesitate. "Yeah," he said. "Together sounds just right." The sun rose higher, casting golden light over them. It wasn't the story he thought he'd live, but it was a better ending than he ever imagined.